अरे सुना क्या? क्या?
अरे सुना नहीं क्या? अरे क्या भाई?
अरे कार्निवल आ रहा है।
कैसा कार्निवल?
कैसा नहीं, पूछो क्या क्या?
बहुत कुछ hottest discount on our courses, live learning, job opportunity, a perfect way to level up your summer time.
अरे इतना सारा?
जी हाँ, इतना सारा. See you at Geeks Summer Carnival.
अरे कहाँ?
डिस्काउंट लेने.
Hello everyone, welcome back to Geeks for Geeks. My name is Muskan Agarwal and today we are with another webinar, and in this webinar we are going to tell you all why are theory subjects important, because I've seen many students asking that in interviews we ask DSA, so why are theory subjects really asked. So we have Shashank with us. He is going to answer all the frequently asked questions around this topic. So yes, I will quickly add him to the stream. But before that, I want you guys to confirm that I'm perfectly visible and audible and there are no network issues from my end. So just give me a thumbs up in the comment section so that, then I will quickly add my guest to the stream. Just give me a thumbs up in the comment section and then I will add my guest to the stream. Also, Geeks Summer Carnival is going on, and we have some amazing discounts on all the courses. So, yes, we have provided the link in the description box below. Do not forget to check them out. All the courses are at student friendly prices. So, yes, I think it is a great opportunity, and you cannot miss them out, right? Yes, thank you, Vijay. Thank you, Swagata, for confirming. Yes, now I will add Shashank. Hi, Shashank. How are you doing?
Hey, hi Muskan. I'm doing really great, and thanks for inviting me. I'm really excited for this session.
Yeah, thank you for doing this, right? So I hope like all the viewers that are watching this will already know you, because you are doing some amazing work and on YouTube channel as well. I personally follow it a lot. And also congratulations for 50K, right?
Thank you so
So
much.
yes, but still for the audience who do not know you, can you give us a brief introduction about yourself?
Sure. First of all, hey everyone. I hope you guys are having a good day. And people who are watching me for the very first time, myself Shashank Mishra, and I am working as a data engineer since last 5 years. And I'm actually from the MCA background, right? I did my BSc in computer science first, and then from NIT Allahabad, I completed my MCA. So I'm from that background. So in today's session, like, you will get a different experience. Most of the time you might have heard words from the BTech students, MTech students, but this time you will hear from my side. And that's what my brief introduction. And I'm also a content creator. I have my own YouTube channel as well, where I used to create content. So basically it's a podcast where I cover I basically bring different people from different backgrounds sharing their interview experiences. Along with that, I create content for the data engineering as well on my YouTube. And I love writing as well, so I keep on sharing my thoughts on LinkedIn on daily basis.
Yes, even I read your, the posts that you write on LinkedIn, and they're really amazing, guys. You should definitely check that out. Yes. Then moving to the topic of the webinar, that is theory subjects. I want to ask that many people say that, when we are asked DSA questions or if they have to check our logic, so they can ask DSA questions and check our logic. So why are theory subjects asked? Like, why are they even important?
Yeah, good question. And honestly, when I was in your state, right, I was in this duration of college placements, or I was doing my MCA, I was also in this dilemma, right? In the interviews, companies will ask DSA questions. I should focus on linked list, arrays, topics, DP, graphs, trees, right? Why the hell I should study this DBMS part and the operating system, networking, oops, right? So this is definitely a misunderstanding, right? We shouldn't actually ignore these subjects, right? Probably you at this moment you don't know this reality, but when you will be moving into the industry, right, when you will be actually working on some softwares, these are the actual components, right? Apart from that, you won't see anything. Even like for 5 years, 10 years, you might not even get a chance to implement anything related to linked list, tree, graph, dynamic programming, but on day-to-day activities, you will be playing around with the object-oriented programming concepts. You, in your software development or the product you are building, you will be using some databases. You need to create it, you need to interact with it, and you need to be really good at the networking protocols, how systems communicate with each other, right? What happens under the hood, and like how the whole infrastructure related things work, servers, playing around with the Linux commands, Unix based commands, right? So these will be your day to day activities. And I think this is probably mistake from our side as well, and uh, probably something from the company's end as well, right? They are too much pushing towards the DSA rounds or the coding rounds, right, in the interviews, but they should maintain a good balance, right? They should prioritize the programming aspects as well, and they should also prioritize these like your core subjects which you study in your colleges. And I made that mistake as well. And you won't even believe, when the placement session was going on, I was rejected by first 6 7 companies, right? And I was not even able to clear the first round. That was the online coding test something. And what happened, I was in the impression that in the online test I will be getting questions related to coding, but it was a mix, right? You will have some like MCQ type related questions or subjective questions for the core subjects as well. And at the last moment, whatever I could have prepared, I just did it, right? I just went through with some blogs, articles, and at that time I was aggressively using Geeks, right? Whatever preparation I did using the DBMS interview questions, OS related interview questions, I just focus on that. And that was not enough to just crack the interviews, right? Because uh, cracking the interview is one aspect, but surviving in the industry is another aspect, and you can do it when you have a in-depth understanding of it. So that's how your college will help you. Obviously, whatever your professors are teaching, you have to be attentive in the classes. And let's say you are not able to understand those words, there is a lot of free stuff available on the internet, and Geeks for Geeks is one of the example, right? They have the enriching content for every core subjects, including programming, everything. You should deep dive into it, right? Like typical concepts of OS. What are the like scheduling algorithms, multitasking, right? Typical concepts of networking, HTTP protocol, HTTPS, right? TCP, UDP, and many other in-depth concepts. Same goes with the OOPS part, which is the really important one, right? The code base we use to write it has to be modular. It has to be in the object-oriented form. We create the object classes, the concepts you cannot run away, right? These will be your day-to-day activities part, and that's why I say these subjects are really really important in your college. Just understand this fact. If you want to survive in the industry, you need to make a good balance. Just by being a pro coder, probably you won't be surviving the industry for in a longer run.
Right, definitely. Also, but I wanted to ask, like, these subjects are important, but in certain interviews, even I have faced that they ask direct definitions. Like, for example, they ask what are asset properties in DBMS. So, like, I can just learn that and speak in the interview, and maybe I'm not, aware about those asset properties. So, don't
Mhm.
you think it's like wrong for the
Yeah,
student that?
completely agree. And that's why in the beginning I said this is the mistake from the company side as well, that they are even following the bad practices of interviews, right? Ideally, you should check someone's practical understandings, right? Just give them some practical scenarios, right, related to the databases. The very good example, you just give them a real world use case. That let's say nowadays we know, right? The application Arogya Setu or vaccination slot booking. Just give them a problem statement and ask them to design a database for it. How many tables you will pick, right? How you will build a relationship with each other. What would be the primary keys, foreign keys, right? Functional dependencies. Just ask these concepts. And if you're just asking those silly questions, what is acid properties, what is consistency, what is just indexing types, and you are just satisfied it, probably you are not doing the interview right way, and you are just hiring a candidate who has just mugged up everything by looking at the interview questions. And I did those mistakes. That's why I'm telling my experience, right? I
Right.
I was really frustrated when I joined my first company. They staffed me in some projects, and I was not even able to understand what the heck is happening. They were talking about networking protocols. They were talking about there is the database, how we set up it, and that's how the entire tables. This is the insert operations properly, how we do the upsert operations. So those jargons I was not even able to understand, and that's the mistake I did because I didn't focus on these subjects in a practical basis. I just only focus on the interview question. And if even you guys are doing it at this moment, I would say please stop it, right? Just do it for the sake of the for the sake of becoming a good developer, not just someone who want to crack the interviews.
Right. Because you might crack the interview, but once you'll enter the company, you have to properly implement it. You cannot learn the definition and implement it there. You
Yep,
have to
yep,
like
yep.
practically implement it.
These four core
Definitely.
subjects are actually the four strong pillar of being a good software developer. And also in the company, any software product or any application you are building, every time you will find these are the solid four strongest pillar of your product and your skill set.
Right. So talking about the subjects, can you tell about the four subjects that you're talking about? Like what are the four must-do theory subjects for placement point of view, or if you are aiming to crack any company?
Yeah. So definitely, first one, the major I would focus on the DBMS part, right? The DBMS is something which is common across the job profiles, right? Whatever job profiles you want to work upon, this will be the something which will play a very very important role. So DBMS is first thing. Second is the networking part, I would say. So networking is also something if like you are creating web applications, Android, iOS applications, you need to write the APIs, you need to deal with the get, post, request, right? The handling the payload, applying the authentications, everything, right? You need to take care, and that's how the networking understanding will come into the picture. And third thing is the object oriented programming, I would say. So any of the object oriented programming, I think mostly in the college the students starts with C++ because for the competitive programming aspect as well, and then when they work on the project side, right, then they probably get a good grip on Java and it's fundamental. So that would be my third one in the list. And the last, obviously, again, the very very much important, the operating system. So in the operating system, all its typical concepts, right? And you have to be good with the command lines, uh, like arguments as well, or the you should have a really good hands on how to write the shell scripting, right? How to actually code on the CLI based systems, right? Going through with those commands, how to operate on it, right? So I think these are the four one which are completely must. And I can add one more thing, which one can even help you in your programming part as well, the automata, right? So automata is also something where you have some really fantastic algorithms or really fantastic concepts, and even using those concepts, the typical concepts of regex, right? Applying, like dealing with the wildcard characters, pattern matching, searching, right? Those came into the picture. So I when I was in the college, I definitely loved that subject. Okay. And so I would say, if you, I'm not saying that you need to deep dive into it, but make sure, like, when you will just give some attention to it, you will definitely enjoy it, because it will be something which will be used in your programming aspects as well.
Yeah, and being a student, I think if we just focus on the classes or everything, I think we can easily cover all these subjects. Like maybe DSA we cannot cover just in college, but these subjects I've observed, just pay
Yep.
attention to the classes, and I think that's more than enough.
Yep.
Then the next thing is the resources. Can you suggest some of the resources which students can follow in order to do these subjects thoroughly?
So for the students, I would say your first best of the best resource is the book, right? And when I was in the college, I am saying again on record, that time Geeks for Geeks was the only platform which was really popular. I closely uh, worked with Sandeep sir as well, right? I remember when I interacted with him for the very first time over mail. I wrote my first article. I got some small box for that. So it was a motivation for me, right? So definitely there is a emotional attachment with Geeks for Geeks. Okay, but books are something which I definitely recommend everyone, right, to read. And that is the best resource to start with. Once you cover those concepts, right, even let's say for the operating system, I know Galvin was something which was really popular, right, and you can follow that one. And if you are talking about the object oriented programming concept, and I started with the C++, so I followed that book, C++ complete reference. There are a lot of books others as well which are easy to understand, so I would say you can take a liberty in that direction as well. If you are not able to understand the language of any particular book, probably you can switch onto different book which is easy to understand as well, but make sure it is covering everything for you, right? It's just not a simple one. And then talking about the dbms and networking, what I can say, even I do remember I didn't follow any particular book for those two subjects, but mostly I was dependent on the blogs and articles, YouTube videos, and Geeks for Geeks. Okay, so those were the like couple of resources I would recommend. And like one YouTube channel I do remember that time, Ravin Babu Ravala, right? So his YouTube channel was definitely really good. Most of my DBMS concepts I actually covered from his lectures. So he's very amazing. You should definitely check out his videos. Ravin Babu Ravala, his videos I followed that time. And similarly, Geeks for Geeks was there, and any random blogs, mostly the popular one, the tutorials point was there that can be followed. And now, like Geeks for Geeks has started this summer carnival, right, which is, I guess, the best opportunity for you all to avail some really great discounts on very long hour and extensive courses and job opportunities, some cool coding events where you can win prizes, fun events as well. So this is the good initiative. I think I wish these kind of events, Geeks for Geeks would have organized when I was there, but that's completely fine because Geeks for Geeks was just started. So those were the some of the resources I would recommend.
Yes, definitely. And the link to the Geek Summer Carnival website is there in the description box below. You can check out the courses from there. We have a lot of courses with student-friendly prices. So yes, you can check them out from the description box below. Definitely. Also, I can see a lot of questions in the comment section. Maybe we can try taking them.
Mhm.
Mohit has asked how to maintain core subjects with DSA.
That's a good question as well, because programming is something when you find it tasty, you ignore other dishes, something like that analogy, right? So you need to maintain it, right? And if you are keeping everything for the placement time, probably you won't be able to maintain a good balance. You need to maintain this balance from the beginning itself. Beginning, like you need to decide the hours. Like if let's say after your classes, right, and have like spending your personal times and everything, you have 5 6 hours left. So the way you can divide it, every day at least you should give some time to each subject, right? It's not like, okay, for 1 week I will only focus on dbms, and after 1 week I will focus on networking, then os, then oops. So what will happen after 1 month completely, again dbms will come into the cycle. Okay, and what will happen, you will forget some concepts, right, and you won't be able to memorize it again, like you won't be able to understand it what I read 1 month back. So that's what I recommend. You can divide the time slots and strictly follow it as well. Like compromising with the schedule is fine sometimes, but not regularly. You need to be consistent with your schedule, you need to be consistent with your timetable. Then you will be able to see the difference as well, that okay, you are feeling completely balanced. And even when you will be going for the interviews, right, you will be feeling really confident that I know programming parts as well, I know the core subjects, and doesn't matter whatever interviewer will ask, I am feeling that confident that I can answer those questions, I can tackle it, I can give some approaches. Okay, so that's how you should maintain the balance. Like timetable is something, slots, time slots are something, and consistently following it, right? Let's say you just found some upcoming coding contest, and you kept yourself completely busy for 1 week and 2 week, that means you break your consistency, right? So plan things in such a way that every day you are able to give some time to each and every subjective topic.
Right. I think consistency is something that is most difficult. Like even I
Yeah.
face a lot of problem. Like I'll do something for 1 month, but then continuing for 2 to 3 months, it's really tough. So yeah,
Yeah.
consistency is very important. Also, like resources part when you told, I just want to add that follow just one resource. Like I
Yeah.
did this mistake in my initial years. I saw so many courses available, so I used to do every course. So then I ended up with nothing. So yeah,
Correct.
follow one course rigorously and complete it till the end or whatever you're
And I
following,
think
right?
I think that was the plus point with me as well, because that time 2015-16 there was not that much popular courses,
Many courses,
resources, platforms available, and that actually
right?
helped me to just stick with Geeks for Geeks, and that's how I prepared.
Yeah, nowadays there are so many courses available
Yes.
that students are confused which one to follow, right?
Correct. Correct.
Yes. And also, how much time, like, is there any time, ideal time that we should devote to the theory subjects, like 1 month or 2 months?
Ideal time. See, if I talk about the consistency and regular studies, so even if you are, let's say, devoting 60% to your programming, because definitely that will be something which will have a major impact just by looking at the trend of the, like, today's interview part, right? N- I'm even not sure after 5 years, 6 years, what will happen. Companies will change this trend, like prioritizing everything rather than programming aspects. But obviously, we need to act according to the situations. So here, you can probably devote 60% time to your programming things, right? And the 40% part, 40%, like 10 10 10% for each subject on daily basis consistently, you need to follow it. In that case, what will happen at the end of the your, let's say, end semesters or any internal exams, practicals, or even the interviews, right? Things won't get piled up. Else what will happen just before the placements, right? 1 month 2 month before the placements, you will feel so much stressed, right? That I haven't studied OS, I haven't studied DBMS, I haven't revised these subjects. And trust me, you will feel so frustrated that you won't be even able to focus on your programming, like just revising those concepts or any other thing you were preparing, right? Because that will choke your mind. And that is the best way, right? You shouldn't like pile up the things for the last moment. Consistently from the beginning, if you are devoting time, even a smaller portion, you will be consistent and you will feel, I know these things, I know these concepts. And just before the placements, like 1 and 2 months before, you can start revising things, right? Because you will have enough amount of time, ample amount of time. Probably and semesters won't be there in between. You can devote your time dedicatedly for those subjects. So that's how I would say, like, people should maintain their time for it.
Right. And sometimes I think in this peer pressure, we tend to forget the things that we know also. Like it happens
Yeah.
with me a lot. So, yeah.
Yeah. You don't compare yourself with anyone, right? So somebody else in your class might be really good, kind of a pro coder, but don't compare yourself, because everybody has their own capabilities. You don't need to be a pro coder overnight, right? That is something. Programming is a never ending process, right? Problem solving or logic building is never ending process, right? You will keep on learning, but act
Right.
according to the situations and your capabilities as well.
Then Vijay has asked that is theory subjects asked in interview while switching companies.
Yes, while switching companies as well. But I'll tell you the fact, right? What all subjects would be really important when you are switching companies, and at least for the entry level freshers, if you are in this 1 to 3 years of experience, most of the time you will face these questions, like related to all these four which I mentioned, right? But among these four, the two which are really important, first is the object oriented programming. This is the first one. And second one, the DBMS part. I would say whenever you are switching a company, you should or you have to focus on these two subjects first, complete it, revise it, right? And then OS is something which will be on the very lowest priority while switching the companies. interviews don't focus much on the OS related questions, but some of the questions will be related to the networking. So that would be the sequence. And that, because I face that kind of interviews as well when I switch companies. So DBMS was prioritized by the interviewers. Object oriented programming was on the high priority, and then on medium level priority networking questions, and lowest priority was the OS question. So that would be the sequence.
Okay. Then there's a question that what are the chances of getting a job with a career gap of 2 years? It's not related to theory questions, but yeah, you can
Yeah, I
answer.
can answer it. So see, I won't say that it is impossible. It is just what kind of skill sets you have, right? If you, let's say, coming back after 2 years, you took a gap, and even you had some past tech experience, let's say past experience in tech industry or something like that, okay, then I don't think so it is going to be really tough for you to just land into another job. It is just the matter of time where you need to focus more on revising the things again, and you need to gain some practical knowledge as well. Let's say you didn't get much time to work on some practical projects or some real world projects, then it is fine to work on you can say hands on projects, some self made projects, or let's say you are enrolled with any of the edtech companies, right, where you are following some courses, right? Nowadays even Geeks for Geeks, they have this one as well, right, where you enroll in the courses, get the complete understanding, and you will be helped for the placements as well, right? So these kind of things you can follow, and you can easily crack the companies. But by looking at the background, and for any valid reason you took this gap of 2 years, companies won't bother about it. Will be little bit difficult, not very straightforward to you that every company will shortlist your profile, but it's not impossible.
Correct. Okay. Okay, I think I've taken all the questions. Till guys, if you have any other question, we will wait for another 10 seconds and you can put out your questions. Till then, I will ask one of the doubt that I had and I faced in my initial years. Like there are many paid courses and also free courses that are available on YouTube. So like,
Mhm.
what is the difference between the two and like which one I should prefer as a student?
Good question. So, and for the free and for the paid, everyone have their own opinions, and that's a debative topic as well, right? People, some of the people, you will hear that they don't even entertain paid courses. They think just companies are running their own businesses and they are looking forward for their own profits, and they won't be getting anything from the paid courses. And free courses is something which is definitely available, right? So free part is something, obviously it is easy to consume, right? It is definitely something which you can afford. But the disadvantage is something, the things which will be missing there, right? Missing would be the mentorship part. So mentorship is something uh, which will be completely missing on the free resources, because whatever was the written, let's say on the article or blog or in or whatever you heard in the YouTube video, you just consumed it and you are trying to implement it. But what will happen when you get stuck in between? Who will be there to solve your questions or to solve your doubts, right? Who will be there to help you out? Nobody. And that's the major disadvantage with the free stuff, right? If you think that you are capable enough, let's say you just get the hints and you will be able to complete the things, then free part is something you should definitely look forward to. And second thing is something, uh, the support as well. Support as in, nowadays the edtech companies, right, they have a very strong referral network as well. They have their strong placement cells, right? Placement cells where they have partnered with lots of good companies. So whosoever, let's say, get involved with them and let's say are working with them in their courses, so obviously they will provide you the access for that placement cell where uh, they will refer you in those companies and you will get the interview opportunities as well. Okay, so this is the second aspect, and I think these two are something which is really really important. that you can find in the paid courses. First is something very very sequential planned roadmap you will get there, right? Because when you start consuming free resources, you need to prepare the roadmap by your own. You need to collect the information. Let's say I want to become a data scientist. First I need to figure out what all things I need to learn in the data scientist to become a data scientist, and how can even I make sure whatever roadmap I have prepared, is it correct or not? Because I'm not a data science professional, right? So if what if someone who is actually working as a data scientist, and he or she can teach me, or he or she can like give me a crisp roadmap, that would be much much better, right? Because in that case I will be avoiding those unnecessary stuffs which I might have included in my roadmap. And that is how the paid things, like, or even the paid courses will help you. They are dedicated and very compact, or you can say sequential roadmap, or very crisp roadmap, the mentorship. And they will focus on the theoretical aspects as well, along with that more on the practical sides, right? Because they know, like, in order to crack the companies, practical projects or practicals are something which will be much more important, so they will be focusing on that. And whenever you feel stuck, right, you can just uh, contact your mentors, right? Have a chat with them, have a call with them, share your thoughts and share your doubts, issues. They will be there to help you, like, till your placements. And that's the best part. So that's how I see these two components: free resources and the paid ones.
Also, like the structuring part is really important. Like I
Yeah.
used to follow YouTube videos initially, so like I used to follow step number 4 without knowing step number one, two,
Mhm.
three, and then I was like, I'm not able to understand anything. So
Yeah.
maybe, like, I cannot do it, or I'm not good enough. But then I was like, I have to do one, two, three, only then I can do 4. So yes, everything is available on YouTube and there are free resources. But then if you're able to structure out and know what are the prerequisites of what, then it will be helpful.
Yep.
Yes. Then Anmol has asked that apart from focusing on the core subjects, should I give some time for interview specific questions? Like company specific, I think he's asking.
Okay, so I'm taking his question in two ways, right? So interview specific questions might be related to soft skills as well, right? Tell me about yourself, right? Where do you see yourself after 5 years, something like that. Or for a specific subject, what are the typical interview questions? Let's say for the DBMS, tell me about the acid properties. This is a typical interview question. So uh, if you have asked questions in these two directions, I would say both of the directions are really important. Okay, so apart from focusing on the core subject, should I give time to interview specific questions? Yes, because sometimes you never know, the interviewer just ask you the technical definition, and sometimes I have seen very weird interviewers as well. Until unless you give them a right solid technical definition of any topic, they won't feel satisfied for that, right? So that's how you should actually know it, and that's a good to know thing as well. And second, if you ask in the soft skills part, so yes, that is very very important, right? Because cracking an interview is definitely, I treat it as an art, right? Cracking an interview includes everything: your technical solidity, your attitude, your positivity, how you speak, how you behave, and how you express yourself, right? So everything, if you have all these things combined, probably you will be the best of the best candidate, right? Every company will die to hire you, because even from the beginning you are, you can say, uh, you are a kind of leader in itself. So that's how I treat the interviews part. And apart from subjects, core subjects, yes, you should focus on these soft skills related things, your communication, and the typical interview questions. There are good blogs available, good YouTube videos where they where those folks basically talk about the typical typically asked questions in the interviews. And again, when I was talking about the paid courses, right, I forgot to add this point as well. So when they not only help you to just refer in the uh, just to refer you in the companies, but also to prepare you for the interviews, right, to build that level of confidence. And to they will give you the whole environment, they will give you the complete atmosphere where you are interacting within person who will act like an interviewer, so you'll get the complete feel, right? You will be like, you will feel that you are getting away from that low confidence dilemma or anxiety part, right? And that's how that thing will also help. I can't hear you, Muskan.
Oh, I'm sorry, I was mute. I was saying that I hope the question was answered and known. Then Rakesh has asked that does people really work on DSA in FANG companies on a daily basis?
And no, not at all. Not at all. That is something which is a myth, right? Even in the beginning, if you heard my terms, uh, probably even at least for 5 years, 10 years, you won't even get a chance to implement the linked list tree, DSA graph or something, right? But see, you never know. Everything will be completely depend on the things you are building, right? Unnecessary, you cannot implement tree, right, on anything. That is completely uh, a stupid thing. So how things actually happen, where you need to implement, but the concepts are really important, right? That's why even the companies and we as a developer focus on the programming side, right? Because doesn't matter, you are not using the linked list, but you are using the logics, right? And that logic could be something, even let's connect with the database, bringing the data, iterating over it, right? So that is something. And sometimes definitely you will feel these situations where you need to use these kind of data structures and need to implement your logic in such a way that you can quickly find something, you can quickly search an element, you can quickly accommodate something, right? Currently I am working on a kind of project where I need to use very dense kind of nested maps, right? So if I wouldn't have know anything about the map, how it actually works and how the searching will happen, everything, probably I won't be able to apply those concepts and I won't be able to understand it, right? So whatever we are covering in the DSA part, that is a solid foundation for us, that is the building block. But if you think that being, if you are hired by Facebook, Amazon, Google, then they will assign you those projects where you are only implementing dynamic programming questions, graphs. No, that is not going to happen at all. You will be actually working on a complete software application. So programming is just one small part of it.
I think this is one of the most commonly asked questions among the student community. Like
Yeah.
I'm also in my third year, so like students ask then when we have to do development or we do not have to implement linked list trees or arrays, then why are they asking us in the
I even
hiring?
haven't implemented. Haven't implemented. I think I'm arrays and the lists, dictionaries, maps. So far, I have used this, and 5 years have gone.
Yes.
So you can now think, right, how things happen in the industry.
Yes, but yeah, it will definitely help in building up the
Yep.
logic, and you might never know, but like you are implementing the logic without even knowing, it, you learned it while learning it, reversing a linked list, right?
Correct. Correct.
Then Anmol has asked that he's a fresher and has worked on non-IT sector. Then he has to take a gap of 1 year. So now, what he should focus on in order to land a job into, tech, in order to land a tech job, basically.
Mhm. So Anmol, see, actually there are, for you, I can suggest couple of things. First, right, you were from a non-IT background, so even if you are let's say trying or you are thinking to move into the tech background or tech job, i I must say you first need to make up your mind, right? Make up your mind, because switching your domain or background is something you first need to feel confident for it, and you need to be really interested in it, right? It's not like you are just doing it forcefully, or you think that tech is something which is the future, right, of this entire country. So not only the tech, non-tech part is also the future of the this country, right? So first you decide what uh, what is your interest. If you definitely let's say you have explored some of the tech part and you feel that it is something which excites you and you feel you are interested in it, then you should definitely deep dive into it. And nowadays there are multiple trends going on in the IT industry, right? The big data domain is really popular. There are lots of job profiles in the big data where even you don't need to be very technical person. Even if you are partially tech, right? Good with the communication, good with the business interaction, and some part you have covered in the tech, like the basic programming, dashboarding, everything, then even you can move into the big data. But if you have, let's say, enrolled with the some paid courses, or those long hour, or you can say 3 4 5 months window of courses, then probably you will get everything at one place, right? You will be learning the software development. They will improve you on your programming, they will even help you with your placements. You can go in that direction. And apart from that, cybersecurity is there, blockchain is there, right? And even some admin related jobs like DBAs are there. And that's how, like, you can move. But first thing, what I would suggest, you should finalize that, where do you want to move, properly into non tech section again, or properly in the tech section.
Also, I see a lot of questions on gap years. So, is it really a disadvantage, or like, do companies prefer not to take people who have gap years, or is it a myth?
Yeah, it was a disadvantage. Like few years back, it was a disadvantage because uh, companies were thinking in that direction. But the way technology has improved nowadays, and the demand, the in India at least, the tech job market is really hot, at least in 2022, for sure, right? So because of the demand now, at least this is the good part, companies have actually started focusing on the actual skills, right? If a candidate, doesn't matter, he had some gap, let's say 6 months, 1 year, because of some valid reasons, that is completely fine, right? They can ignore it if the candidate is good with their skills. And that is actually happening. I have seen lots of candidates who took some gaps because of some family reasons, because of some personal reasons, and again coming back into the industries. So that was a disadvantage few years back, but now it's not the disadvantage. If you are good with your skill sets, and you can easily crack the companies, and even companies will shortlist your profile.
Okay. And I think this is the same thing with colleges as well. Like earlier, companies used to prefer tier one students, but now
Mhm.
I see most of the companies, they don't, pay a lot of attention to the college, but instead they pay attention to the skill set.
Correct.
Yes. Then Anmol has asked that while solving a DSA question, how do you understand like what data structure to use or what logic has to be implemented
Yeah.
basically?
Yeah, that's a good question. And I must say, this comes from the practice, right? And one thing first you need to avoid, and this is for everyone, right? If you think without even knowing the concept, you are jumping on some competitive programming challenges, or you are just jumping, even I would say avoid jumping onto the Geeks for Geeks directly in order to solve some DP questions. Even if you didn't understand what is the heap sort, what is the complexities, how it can impact your solution, if you don't even understand it, that is not the right time to move into these competition or any section where you are just going for the sake of practicing the question. So how I will tell my approach: in the college, I dedicated a very long window, at least I do remember 3 4 months at least dedicatedly. I followed one of the books, right, where continuously I was studying the actual data structures and algorithm. Because in the books you will find very minimalistic practice questions, right? Like not very 100 200 500 questions to practice, because they want to teach you the concept. They haven't covered anything for the problem solving. And that was the thing which actually helped me, because first I understood where to use, when to use, why to use. If you don't know these things, probably you will be applying anything randomly. Let's say you saw one problem, right? And like you can solve it with the help of sorting, but you don't know which one is the optimized and why even that one. Because in the interviews, that would be the follow up questions from the interviewer. Let's say you used the try data structure, like you even used hashing. So he will ask, right, why did you use it? Is it necessary to use? And what kind of advantage this kind of data structure or this kind of algorithm is giving, because there could be multiple ways to solve any problem statement. So first, please focus on the building blocks, foundation, understand those things in depth. And then when you will start with the problem solving 400, 500 questions, practicing lead code, practicing coding challenges, then you will even feel confident. By even looking at the problem statement, you will quickly able to figure out, okay, I can solve it with the help of this data structures and with the help of this algorithm. So that was my approach, and it helped me a lot.
Yes, definitely. Practice is the key. Also, one thing I would also like to add that looking at the solutions is not a bad thing. Like
Yeah.
initially, I used to think that I should not look at the solutions because I am, copying or I'm just looking at someone else's solution, not putting my own brain. But yeah,
Mhm.
then I understood that initially it's fine if you look at the solutions, understand it, and implement it on your own. I think it's completely fine.
Correct, correct.
Yes. Okay. Then Deepak is asked that how can a fresher with 0 to 1 years of experience can get data engineering jobs?
Okay, so Deepak, actually, this session is not about the data engineering. So, see, I can route you to my YouTube channel. You can search my YouTube channel named as E-Learning Bridge. I have created multiple videos for the crisp roadmap related to data engineering, very extensive roadmap, even along with the resources. Just go there, check that out, and you will get the complete idea. And that roadmap is specifically for the fresher. So that's how you can check it.
Yes, definitely. Then Aditya has asked that any kind of certification on theory subjects like computer networks, operating system help us in college placements. Basically,
No,
do we need to do certification?
not at all. The certifications, these things for the college students is something, and not even a single company entertains it, right? Doesn't matter what kind of certification, networking certifications have you done. If you have done something like participated in some hackathons, achieved something, and added those things in your skill set, those will be the those will be actually prioritized, right? Not this certification, because nowadays everybody knows the values of certification and how easily you can get it, right? Even just without
Yes.
playing the videos of those lectures and that course, you can even get that certificate. So nobody entertains it, and I don't think it adds any kind of value. If you enroll in any course and they are giving the certificate, so prioritize that learning which you will be getting during the course, not even prioritize that certificates, because it won't have any values even moving forward in the industry or even for the college placements.
Yes, I've seen a lot of students adding, 10 to 12 certifications in their resume, and I'm like, you can maybe remove this and add something which is more valuable.
Relevant, yeah, correct.
Yeah. So our college used to provide 10 marks for certifications initially, like when I was in my first year, but now they know that what we all do, so now they've stopped that completely.
Yeah,
So
yeah, it
yeah,
should be stopped.
yes. So everybody used to get 10 marks for free, but unfortunately it's stopped now.
And now you will be regretting, at least I was getting 10 marks for free.
Yeah, exactly. Like it just continued in my first year. I made full use for 2 semesters, but sadly.
That's fine, yeah.
Okay, then there's a question: how important is knowledge of design patterns and best practices on coding conventions in SDE coding rounds?
Whoa, that's a really good question, and I must say this is really important, right? We actually ignore this part when interviewer ask any problem questions or coding question. Roughly, we start just writing some stupid naming conventions, A, B, C variable where we are using it. Like people or even the interviewer won't have any idea about it, right? So I'm happy you asked this question, and I must say, if you are even targeting those kind of tech giants, be it the Amazon, Facebook, Google, they strictly focus on this part, right? They give you problem statement. They don't only look at how quickly you solve it, how quickly or what kind of amazing data structure or algorithm you use, how even you are writing the things, right? Kind of the way you are using the variables, naming convention, structuring your code, right? Following the best practices, the creating your program in a functional way, right? And commenting part, everything, those will be noticed, and those will be the smaller points which can be a bottleneck as well in order to crack your interviews, right? You will be regretting sometimes that why didn't you even follow these best practices, else like you could have cracked the Google, you could have cracked the Facebook because of just mistakes. You are not able to do that. And again, the design patterns related things will be something which will be important in your design rounds as well, right? System design rounds where at least you will be they will be asking some HLD LLD related things, but they can even ask you to design a blueprint for that entire system, right? You need to design the classes or the objects, right, and their relationships with each other, and also the which kind of, let's say, design pattern you will be using, what kind of design pattern is a good fit for this use case. So these two things are something which is really really important, I would say.
Right. I think coding conventions, like some students are like, we were able to solve two questions in the interview, but still we did not get through the interview. So why
Yeah,
is it? So I think this is one of the major reasons, because you're not following the coding convention, right?
correct,
If you're
correct.
writing IJK, I don't think
Yeah.
that is a red flag for the interviewer.
Definitely, definitely.
I'll just see. I think we have covered most of the questions. We'll just wait for another 10 seconds if we have any other questions. Yes. Guys, you can post your questions in the comment section. Uh, yes, I'm looking at the comment section for now. By the time I'll just try answering Aditya's question. He wants to participate in a hackathon, but he doesn't have a team. So there are many Discord servers. You can just go through them, and there are, you can team up with people from different colleges there. Okay, so Ketan has asked that he's a second year CSE student. What else should he prepare instead of DSA or apart
So I
from
think
DSA?
I think
This
you
webinar
just
is
need
about
to
it.
replay this video again. And in the beginning, we actually talked about, apart from DSA, what all things you need to focus, and
Right.
that was actually related to core subjects. But third thing, obviously, which is important, is the dev skills. And I think the dev skills, or the core subjects we were focusing or we were talking about, right? Even when you start working on some projects or start taking participation in hackathons, right, you will get a good idea about these subjects by your own, right? Because you will get a practical opportunity to design a database, to use some networking protocols, to write the code in a modular way using the object oriented programming concepts. So these two things actually go hand in hand. So the hackathon part or the dev skills, and even these core subjects which you can cover in parallel. So I will combine these two things together, which should be your priority as well, along with the core subjects which you are focusing on.
I think your video got stuck.
Hello.
Yeah, I think your video was stuck. Now it's fine. It got stuck while you were answering in the middle.
Yeah, might be some network issue. I'm fine, right?
Yeah, it's fine now. It's fine now. Yeah.
Cool,
Uh,
cool.
then there's a question about system design as well. So maybe we can try taking this up. Or any tips on how to approach problems in a structured pattern for system design? I think it is a very elaborate question.
Is there any tip on how to prepare and approach uh, problem in a structured pattern? Am I audible properly?
Yeah, you're audible. Your video is stuck, but you're audible.
Muskan, am I audible? Am I visible completely? Might be, guys, some network issue. So
Yeah, right now it's perfect. Right now it's okay.
some design part. So the best answer is something, right? As soon as you hear about the problem statement, don't just directly jump onto the solution, right? This is the thumb rule I have followed and I recommend. And these are the tips I even received from the seniors or all the uh, educators like who teach the system designing related things. As soon as you hear the problem statement, don't jump onto the solution, because designing a system, and the best part of the system designing question is that it won't have any finite answer. And that is the,
Yes.
you should be happy about it, like, because the interviewers won't be expecting that yes, this is the perfect design and I was expecting this design only, because different people will have different skill sets and they can try to put their own thoughts while designing that system, right? Let's say somebody was using redis for the caching, somebody else worked on the memcached, so he or she might be using that one. Okay, so they just want to see how you can build the scalable, optimized and fault tolerant system, rather than you are using that component which is specifically I was looking for. Okay, so this is first thing. Second, requirements gathering, the requirement gathering part is something which is really important. That is why I say don't jump onto this solution directly. First have a conversation with the, just as soon as you hear the problem, take a time, take a pause, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, just think about the problem, right? And just note down some keywords, right? Whatever in the problem statement the interviewer asks for it, just note down some keywords. And as a, like, you should start asking questions around it to the interviewer, that let's say, do you want this functionality or not? Let's say for the authentication, like, do you want the authentication or not? Okay, and let's say you are that guy actually ask you to create some messaging application, so you can ask like, do I need to maintain the history of messages, right? Or let's say the WhatsApp introduced this feature, right? Only like only once kind of message. Okay, the delete options. So once you receive the problem statement, the ample amount of requirements you will be able to collect, you will be able to design your system in one single shot. Else what will happen, there will be iterations. Let's say you, whatever you had first time, you design something and then interviewer will add something on top of it, then you need to reiterate, revisit, and that will waste your time as well, interviewers time as well, and you won't be concluding with at least a decent level of system design. Okay, so these are two things I would say you should focus, and these are the key rules or the thumb rules in order to crack these system design related interviews. Focus on the requirements, collect it as much as you can. And third, don't just restrict yourself for any specific tech stack. Whatever best you know, try to put your own thoughts, and don't think that there will be any finite answer for that. Nobody shouldn't even expect it. Even if your interviewer is expecting some specific tech stack and some specific solid design for it, he is expecting, I think his expectations are wrong.
Right. Also, not jumping to the like solution directly. I think it goes for theory questions and DSA
Yeah.
also. Like you should understand the question, like ask question as many questions as you want from the interviewer. Only then you should start answering it.
Yeah, that's
Yes.
correct. That's correct.
Yes. Okay, so now there are a lot of questions on system design. So guys, maybe we will cover system design in some other video. This is not the right video for that. I think most of the questions on theory subjects we have already covered. Lastly, I would like to thank you, Shashank, for coming to Geeks for Geeks and helping out the student community by answering all the questions. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Muskan, and thanks for inviting me. I hope I was able to answer all the questions, and it was really a great session. And you guys were a nice audience. Thanks.
Yes. Also, I would like to ask, there were a lot of questions on data engineering and roadmaps. So you should definitely check out Shashank's channel. We will definitely put the link in the description box below and you will get a detailed roadmap there. Yes.
Thank you,
With
Muskan.
this, we
Thank you.
will see you in the next webinar. Till then, bye-bye.